Hey guys, it's Levi Gates. Welcome to DETALKS. With me, Mr. Dylan Von Kleist of Rupes Polishers.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Oh, so excited to have you, brother. So, again, Dylan and I feel like we're cut from the same cloth. Brothers from another mother.
Yeah.
And one of the fun parts about that is that we were both detailers, and now we are industry guys, reps, company reps,
yeah.
company men,
Yes.
salary man.
Yes. Product shills? No.
Product shit? No,
yeah. Maybe not.
But we've been able to make that transition.
Yep.
We've been very lucky,
Yep.
very fortunate. There are a lot of amazing detailers out there that either just that's not their thing, but then there are a lot of us that's kind of what I'm going to say I've always strived for. I never knew how to attain it.
Yep.
But I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to put in all the time and work and hard work to achieve this. And so for me, it basically, I fostered a friendship with the rag company. I had the benefit of them being here in the same city, a few miles away, and Jeff and I were able to build a good relationship, and I was able to answer those questions that they needed, and that customers would respond to. I'd start doing emails, and it just kind of fell into where the beginning of this year was our first full transition into me coming over full time, getting rid of my shop and making that full move, which was hard for the last year or two to have something that's yours and you've fostered and you've built and you've created, and then feel like you're coming to come work for the man, but it hasn't been that way.
Sell out.
Yeah. So, but you've done that as well.
Yeah, and I made the transition a while ago, and it's I get asked that question a lot. It's like, a lot of guys, they want to make that jump. They see that as the next logical progression beyond detailing. Like we've talked about, you can't do detailing forever.
Right.
So you have to build a shop and that you manage, and you're not doing all the work yourself, or you've got to jump to the supplier or vendor side and
whether that be a distributor product or
something, where you're basically providing products to the service side of the business, and there is not a roadmap. Sorry to break it to you guys.
Yeah.
There's not a guide. I have not written the Idiot's Guide
small,
to
short industry, little industry.
And there's not a lot of jobs. I mean, there is a lot of jobs in this industry, but there isn't nearly as many as there are people who want to do them. Everybody wants, and let's not kid ourselves. I got out of detailing and got out of hard physical labor, the detailing part, but I probably put in more hours than I did as a detailer on this side of the business just because of the demands for my time and travel and the things that go with it. It's not as luxurious and, great a lifestyle as everybody assumes. Oh God, you work for Rupes, it's easy, right? It's like, well, no, I actually do work still. It's just, it's not with my hands so much. But yeah, there's a number of ways that I tell guys that you can attack this if you want to get into this side of the business. Is you do have to foster a relationship with a company or a brand, and that doesn't just necessarily mean show up on their doorstep and here's a resume, I'd like to work for you now. Add value. I found my way into the business because I was being documented in magazines and things like that using Adams Polishes products back in the day, and I had a relationship going with Adam from way back when. And when a need arose, I was a logical candidate because we had that relationship and they needed somebody with my skill set to do, basically be their online presence at that point.
Yep.
And that's how I got into it. It wasn't because I showed up one day and handed them a resume and said, I want to do this for you. I kind of existed on the fringe and was available when they needed that spot filled. So I tell guys, make connections with the brands that you use, that you respect.
And use those brands.
Use those brands, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I've got guys that call me and go, hey, I need to be sponsored by you guys. We don't sponsor anybody.
Yeah.
But
these guys will. Yeah.
Well, for me, it was like I had to explain to some of these guys, no, not only do I have this relationship, I've spent thousands of dollars with my business in this company.
Yeah.
Utilizing their products.
I was a customer, not a sponsored person.
Yeah. I was going to use those products regardless to make my money in my business, whether they help me out or not. Yeah. Because I like their products. I'm going to use them. I'm going to pay full freight basically on it.
Yeah. And you've got to support that brand and be a customer, I guess. And you can add value back in, as I'm sure you did for the rag company here, is you can provide feedback on product. And that's the other, I would say, a major pitfall. Don't be that guy that says, I want to be one of your testers. you can offer it up. Say, hey, if you ever need any testing,
Yeah.
let me know. Or if you want feedback, give them feedback. Help them. Go, hey, I liked this, but I didn't like this. Maybe they'll take that input and use it. If you can add value to a business, you become that guy that's like, we need to fill that position for that technical guy, that service rep guy that we need. That one guy that always comes around, he buys stuff from us. He's really smart. Maybe we should talk to him.
Yep.
That's one path in. Again, there's no easy way to do this, and some of it is luck. It's pure dumb luck on my part, I think, for some of these things. Just right place, right time. Rupus bought Cyclo. They happened to be in Colorado, and I was in Colorado. But
Yeah.
I'd like to think I'm kind of good at what I do, but I also happen to be geographically desirable, right?
Yeah.
But create value in yourself and don't get discouraged. I've talked to a number of guys who've like, well, I've talked to this company and that company, and I've offered, and they just don't take me up on it. It's not every company is going to offer you a job. I mean, it's just because you want to work there doesn't necessarily mean they want you to work there.
Well, and a lot of it goes back to that, I was raised, you don't ever quit a job until you have another job.
Yeah.
And never plan on getting that other job.
Yep.
So be happy and content in what you have and enjoy it. And I never planned on going full time here. I offered assistance, and it got to a point where they just trusted me enough that they would call me and go, hey, we have a customer who needs this answered. We're going to forward it to your email. Then it was, well, we'll just provide you an email address. And then it was like, we'll provide you some pay, some compensation
for your time,
for doing this. We appreciate it. And then it was, hey, I need you to come travel with me and go do this to answer these questions with these people because you know this stuff better than I do. And then it was, I need you full time.
Yeah.
How do we make that happen? Well, there's a lot of pieces we got to move around. But yeah, it was over the course of 2 years, but it wasn't something I was looking for. I was planning on getting the shop running enough that I could keep it running and just be happy with it and enjoy it. And maybe I could go and do something else and find time in that. But it worked out in my favor, but I didn't actively seek it.
Yeah.
And I think, a lot of guys actively are trying to seek the finish line no matter what it is in their careers, period.
Yeah.
They feel like because I got this, I deserve this. Because I got this, I deserve this. You got to work for it.
Yeah.
It's like Jose says, you got to pay your dues.
Yeah. No, everybody has to put that time in.
You got to get in there. You got to have those hours in. And more and more companies, what I like is more and more companies are looking for guys like us that have detail experience.
Yeah.
That have real world shop experience of how this product can work day to day.
Yeah.
They're not hiring.
There's certain aspects of what we know that just can't be trained into someone. It's something that you have to have lived through to understand.
You have to sit in a 100-degree shop and sweat it out.
Yeah, because otherwise it's like, well, yeah, okay, I hear detailing's really hard work. Well, no, like we did it. I know it. You know it. And guys who detail know it. And on top of that, I think that there's a number of guys that also ignore the fact you have to build a skill set outside of detailing. You cannot go to work for a supplier, a manufacturer, a vendor, a distributor, purely based on, well, I'm really good at making cars shiny. If you can't communicate well, if you don't write well, if you don't add some other value in there, they don't need guys to detail cars. Not everybody can be a trainer. That's the number one request. Like, I want to be a trainer. It's like, well, yeah, sure, everybody wants to do that, but are you good in front of an audience? Do you have a skill set? It's not just as simple as showing up and going, this is how you polish, or this is how you do this. You have to have the ability to teach people and
talk to people
and engage and get out of them what they need from you so that you can provide that. There's a skill set in training. It's not just, I know how to detail so I can train people.
Yeah.
No.
And I've known guys that are phenomenal detailers that customer walks in the door and they are tongue-tied. They don't know what they're saying. They don't know what they're like, I can't. And then they come grab me and go, hey man, I need you to talk to this customer. And I come out, hey, what can I do for you? What can we get? Let's help you here. Let's do this. And that was me when I was managing other people's detail shops. The owner didn't like talking to customers. Just didn't like doing it. That wasn't his thing. And
nothing wrong with that.
But then got jealous when people started asking, thinking that I was the owner of the business because I was the one taking all the phone calls. I was the one talking to them. I was their first point of contact when they walked in the door. And they thought that I ran the business. And then that made him upset. But it was, that's not what you want to do. You asked me to do it. So that's what I'm doing for you. And so then it was trying to foster him into learning how to talk to your customers, how to be this guy. He ran the business. It was a successful shop. that wasn't his suit. That wasn't his strong
There's nothing
suit.
wrong with it. Yeah, I mean, some people are just not cut out for that kind of personal engagement piece. They're
Right.
maybe a numbers guy, and again, that's another. I mean, if you are a really, really good detailer who is super efficient, maybe you have some ideas on efficiency and things, and you've formalized everything. You're good with spreadsheets. You don't necessarily have to be in the forward-facing part of the business. All of these distributors and places need ops guys.
Yep.
They need warehouse managers. They need shipping and packing managers. People who are good at doing that stuff. So you don't have to be a on-video personality type
Right, like
person,
us.
marketing guy.
Good looking.
Yeah, well, facial hair, my sweet do. But there are other needs, and I think that gets lost. A lot of guys see what you or I do, or some of the other detailing celebrities. I hate that term, but you know what I mean. The guys that are visible, and think, oh, I could do that. It's not as easy as you think, sitting in front of a camera and talking like this.
I get tongue-tied all the time.
A lot of people get locked up in this situation, but there's nothing wrong in that. Find your skill set, find a value that you can add, and then look for the positions. Don't just go in and assume you're going to be the on-camera guy or the trainer guy. Be versatile, or learn a skill set that suits yours. Some people just don't speak
I remember a long time ago we did a commercial for just the local television for our detail shop, and it was the one I managed, and the camera crew showed up, and we all parked the cars in the most dumbest ways that nobody would ever detail their cars in that position, but that's how the camera guys wanted it to look. And so we were detailing, and I was with one of my guys, and he was sweating profusely. He had more sweat than I'd
Flop
ever
sweats.
seen. Oh, it was like, and he was so
Feeling okay, man?
so stressed out, and he was always the coolest guy in the shop, and he just worked and got his job done, and always put out stellar work. But you put a cameraman on him, and he looked like he didn't know how to do the car anymore.
Yeah.
Like he was so
Overthinking it.
Yeah, and it was because someone was watching him.
Yeah.
But that guy was is still one of the best detailers I've ever known, and can make a car shine like anybody else, and
Just don't put a camera
just
on him
don't
when
put a
he's doing
camera on him, and he's all right. So it does it. You need to think about that stuff, and I had other guys that really couldn't detail that well, but man, they're phenomenal photographer.
Yeah.
That's their favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
And so it was like, all right, man, you're going to do our media on our shop. You're going to take care of all the photos.
Yeah.
You can still detail cars and do this stuff, but I'm going to want you to take a few minutes to make sure you take some cool pictures. And he could always set them up really great. And, I had other guys that, they could talk to customers. And if I wasn't there, they could be the point man. And they only did 2 cars a day. That's just, they weren't going to push it. They weren't going to be the fastest guy in the shop, but they were just going to put cars out, and they were happy. But they could talk.
Yeah.
They could help a customer, and that's you
could
got to
just-
look at that even in your own shop.
Yeah. Are you a sales guy, or are you a service guy, or what are you, and where would you fit? And there's so many jobs within a detail business, a successfully run detail business. You've got to have, if you are not the guy, you've got to have a guy who is a sales guy who can sell the packages, upsell the coding, upsell better, more thorough correction, whatever it might be. But you also have to have somebody who manages the books. If it's not you, there's got to be a brain that's running this thing and making sure you're not losing money on every job. So there's all these things that can be learned within a detailing business that then immediately translate into a supplier or manufacturer or distributor, that those jobs exist there as well. So if you can learn those things within your detail business and then apply them outside of that, you are that much more valuable to a manufacturer like Rupus or the Rag Company or anybody else out there who needs to fill a position. It's not all about just polishing cars and showing people how to polish cars. It's very strange that kind of seems to be the outward perception. Those are the only jobs that anybody wants. And you go, these distributors are far more complex businesses than just that. They have to fulfill orders, they have to take orders and sell things.
Monday morning, I literally joined the team downstairs because we had 150 orders come in and over the weekend, over Father's Day weekend. And it's one of those where it was all hands on deck. Everybody needed to be here. Everybody needed to build and fulfill orders. So if you got an order from me where I signed my name down there and left you a little note, it was because I was actually in the,
And if you received the wrong product, it wasn't his fault.
It wasn't me. I'll tell you that right
Even if
now.
it has his name on it.
But, just because if you do get a job with a business, you're not always going to get that position. You need to be able to be available for every job.
Be multifaceted.
I was sweeping the floor yesterday, so
Excellent job, by the way. It's very clean in here.
Thanks. So, if you want to learn more about Dylan and Rupes, go to rupes.com. Dylan, thanks for coming, man.
Buddy, this has been fantastic.
Yeah. Check him out on Facebook and Instagram and the whole Rupes team in the U.S. And make sure you guys leave comments below. Subscribe right here above his head.
Right here.
And stay tuned for more videos right here on the Rag Company YouTube channel.